Oh, we're locking up. I mean, yeah, this is good stuff. Driving in the wet with this, you can do this for hours. Right guys, we're finally here at Sim Racing Expo at the Fanatec booth in this weird cube space to try out for the very first time Assetto Corsa Evo. And this is literally our very first time. So we're going to jump on and I'm going to just say it as it is. And I really, really hope, guys, I really hope that it's good. I hope the force feedback's good. I hope the graphics are good. This has to be good. I can't do with another 5 years of an ATC type situation. So let's get in the rig here and see what it's like, see what's going on. We've just literally been left here in this space. They trust us. I could just download, we could just take the hard drive out of the computer and run away. So first things first, actually, you know what's more important than the driving is obviously the menu. And well, screen we have a car. Oh look, we can use the mouse to look around the car that's in the garage. And we can zoom in, that's nice. So I guess this is whatever car you've got selected. So the menu's like a full 3D space. Kind of has that, does have that kind of, I was gonna say like unrealness to the, to the menu, though obviously AC Evo isn't an Unreal Engine. This is Kunos' own custom engine. But that's a really nice, this is a mega close-up zoom there for you guys. This is a really nice sort of snappy user interface there with the car in the background. Big clear buttons. At the moment, we can only do special events here, which is what we're going to load into. I don't think we can see any real settings here. We've got credits, there's some video settings. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to show this, but they've just left us in this room. So what you can see actually though, is that we are on a ultra wide monitor. So if the camera can move back a bit here so you can see the whole screen, all this stuff is actually operating on the ultra wide monitor. And this is 2120 by 1440 native. I don't know if it's going to have triple screen support. I guess it will do. It says one monitor default here, frame rate limits. What graphics settings have we got? We've got 2x AA, so this is great. So if you're using VR, we'll have traditional anti-aliasing. We've got this filmic anti-aliasing. I don't know what that is. FXAA, you don't want to use that. All the sort of shadow settings, but yeah, we have here the settings that you'd generally expect. By default, they've got motion blur on. I'm not going to change anything. Maybe we can do before we leave. We're just going to go with what they've got out of the box here. But yeah, so view of the menu, nice 3D space with the car in it. It's nice and snappy. Looks like that sunlight is also updating in real time. So maybe when it goes day and night, this menu updates as well. But here we go, guys. It's time to actually drive. But I'm going to have to move the seat back a bit. The last person that was in here was tiny. What wheel we got? The Fanatec DD Plus, I believe it is, with a Assetto Corsa Evo branded GT wheel rim on here. Here's the big moment, guys. The big moment. Special events. And we're going to jump in. We've got a Porsche, Alpine, and a Hyundai. Is that a Porsche Cup car? I think it might be a Porsche Cup car. So on Imola as well. Quick race. Oh my! Here we go, guys. Here we go. We've got tips. It's loading. See what the loading time is. Here we go. Well, that looks really nice. So we've got the Porsche. It's the GT3. Is it the GT3 car? It's the GT3 Cup. I'm an idiot on this. But yeah, look, we've got nice depth of field here. We've got some people in the pit lane. We've got all the refueling accoutrements. Got nice camera shots here. This is way more polished than what you'd have in ACC. Way more polished than AC1. We are seeing the shadows updating, I think, as it goes through. I don't know if they're loading in. But that looks really nice. This actually has a bit of a sort of a Forza vibe to it, I'd say, maybe. But really nice. You can see they've gone for a really nice sort of polished look to everything. Okay, Neil's Niox here on the scoreboard, Stefano Casello. Right, oh guys, the anticipation, here we go. pick the drive button for our first ever drive and race in Assetto Corsa Evo. I've got to put my headphones on, I've lost them. No! I'm on my head, I couldn't hear it. Right, great start there. Right, first ever race. My headphones on my head. Right. They do have like, they've got the onboard, sort of weird onboard camera movement stuff. This does feel, it feels different to ACC, and I'd say it also feels different to original Assetto Corsa. I don't know what wheel settings they're doing. Trying to feel out how much sort of dynamic range there is in the force feedback as we go through. The car's super stable to drive, super forgiving and stable. We've thrown it around a little bit. This already though, it has a different feel to both AC1 and ACC. So I think if you're coming from either of those, I mean, I don't know if that's because of the settings they're using or if it's the inherent physics. It feels like there's more range to the force feedback than there is in ACC, but I'm not sure if it's as direct feeling as the original Assetto Corsa. But I'm just trying to sort of get a gauge this, and also get my feels around the using the pedals here. It's always the thing with these sort of rigs at trade shows is getting to grips with the different settings that they put on the wheels and the pedals. Do you know what? I'm a little bit worried. Like, the graphics look nice. The car seems to handle very progressively and like nice and easy to drive. So natural handling. I'm a bit worried that this might not have the dynamic range for the limit. I'm a little bit worried here. Like, there's nice range of movement for the loading up, and it does feel more dynamic than ACC. The car feels more stable. It does seem more responsive and smoother than ACC. Doesn't feel as abrupt on and on-off at the limit as ACC. But then I'm not sure if the force feedback's as direct as the original Assetto Corsa. It could be wheel settings. So after doing a few laps here, I'm gonna tweak some of the wheel settings. I've got a suspicion they've put quite a bit of damper on the wheel, which is blocking that detail, because it definitely feels like there actually might be a bit going on there. This transition though is really nice from, we've got a day to night transition, we've got some nice like fog and environmental lighting. This definitely has that kind of visual next gen kind of look to it. Also the way the lights are lighting up the track's quite nice, and the scenery. The handling though is actually really nice and progressive. It definitely doesn't have that. It doesn't have that on-off feeling that ACC has. Yeah, I actually think it might have the range there. I think there's dampening on the wheel. Okay, I think this is. I've gone from potential mega pessimism to a little bit of optimism here. Oh yeah, coming out of that corner, so my brain's dialing into the pedals and the wheel and the actual physics of this game. As I say, this feels different to drive than AC1 and ACC, and actually, I don't think I can directly compare this to any other sim on the market. I would say maybe if you were to sort of blend AC1 with race room, yeah, like I need to change some. I'm going to cheekily let's change some settings here. Right, why have they always put damper on these things, right? No, it's all right. We got how do we sensitivity? Here we go. Force feedback, full force, natural. Okay, let's turn the natural damper off here, guys. All the adjusting settings. Don't tell anyone. We turn this down. Friction off, inertia off, int on 2, FEI, force, yeah, spring effect, damper. That's all right. So let's turn this natural dampener off. Here we go. Let's get it feeling a bit more direct, guys. Fanatec be like, who's gone through all our settings? There we go. Yeah, so there's definitely there's way more dynamic range to the force feedback in this compared to ACC, and the car grip is definitely a lot more progressive in terms of the car going from being on the limit and then going over the limit. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm on the limit, oh, now it's stuck and gone over the limit. It's like a gradual progression, which is really nice. I don't feel like I'm getting stuck in passenger slide, so in that sense, it's a lot more like AC. I would still say though, it's not as direct as AC1 or Automobilista 1, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because in some ways, especially if you've got really high-end direct drive wheels, when you play AC1, AMS1 on high-end wheels, they can be a bit overactive, which you can then use filters and stuff to calm it down. So I think maybe out of the box you wouldn't need to use as much filter there. But actually, yeah, I think this is actually looking pretty good. That was the first ever drive with the Porsche there. Now we're going to go to try another vehicle. Menu's quite snappy there, actually loads quite fast. Let's jump to the Alpine here in practice. And, oh, we're in the wet here, so this is going to be interesting. So this is obviously much more of a road car situation at Bathurst. Right, so straight out of the pits there, even though it's in the wet, obviously this is not a super duper fast race car, but straight out of the pits, immediately controllable, wet tyres, I imagine, or road tyres, so it'll be quite progressive, but you can feel exactly what the car was doing there. Great stuff, nice sound of the rain on the car. Yeah, it's weird because it's definitely given me AC1 vibes, but mixed with something new. I'm definitely not feeling ACC from this. I'm feeling more in the Assetto 1 sort of vibe of this. This car is immediately intuitive to drive, and as good, you can feel it loading up. You can get on the throttle. There's a bit of understeer, a bit of oversteer. This actually feels more varied in the behaviour when you're at the limit than AC1. Yeah, look at that. We totally over-egged it over there and just completely naturally caught that. And we're able to also give a bit of throttle. I mean, yeah, this is good stuff. Totally, just immediately drivable. I think that's really the test with all these things. Is like, is it natural? Does it feel natural to drive? And despite it being the wet, we can sort of welly it around and feel feel what we're doing to catch it. Oh, we're locking up. Oh, that's nice though, the grip coming back. You can really feel that starting to hydroplane there and also lock up, and you can really feel that looseness, but then it's still totally controllable. It doesn't just get stuck and stay over the limit. See if it has as much range in the force feedback for braking. So one of the really nice things with Assetto Corsa 1 and weirdly Automobilista 2 and Project Cars 2, especially Automobilista 2 with the customizable force feedback, you can really get nice braking feel and dynamics to the force feedback in AMS1, and of course AC1 has really nice force feedback, but specifically for braking, which is something a lot of simulators totally lack. So this actually has really good really good feel for how much you're pushing the brake. And then I think the key thing with that as well though is that it's just, if you go over the limit, you still have stuff to play with. It doesn't just, the physics don't just turn off. We kept out of the wall there. So you feel the range before you get to the limit, and then when you're on the limit, you've got a bit of controllable slide, so you can then play with the vehicle. That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you driving in the wet with this, you can do this for hours. Also feels like there's different grip levels for the paint on the side of the road as well, affecting the tyre a bit there. I think the rear popped out a bit more. You've got the different, there you go. You've got different bits of the track that are wetter than other bits, and then that affects the grip as well. It doesn't look like they have a drying line on this, or like as an advanced, great Austin Powers moment here. It doesn't look like they have as an advanced mode for the racetrack in terms of a drying line, wet line, dry line. Maybe they do. Maybe that's the system they're working on. Doesn't look like it's got a sophisticated wet track as iRacing. But you do have to watch out for you can see visually where it is wetter, and those bits of track do unsettle the car. Let's put our headset down a bit. I'm going to just listen to the audio and focus on that. Which unfortunately you guys can't hear the audio. We were unable to record from the PC. But I'll have a little listen so I can then tell you. Yeah, so I'd say the audio is definitely on the sort of loud side. If you're a fan of, I've actually broke the audio. It was so loud and our crash was so big, I think we broke the audio. But it's definitely more on that sort of ACC side of the audio, where you've got like a just louder noise to it, which some people like, some people don't like. Sounds pretty detailed though, sounds pretty raw. I think a lot of people will enjoy how this sounds based off this vehicle. After breaking the headphones, we're back again in the Porsche, and because I think this is more of a actual proper race car, and is a better test for how things actually handle. Though driving in the wet though, I mean, that was really good. I think the vast majority of people will be super impressed with that. And obviously you're not going to need any mods to get that out of this. I feel like I've dived myself into the physics here, and you can also say we've got AI driving around. So a big problem with AC1 was the AI was a little bit flaky. AI around Imola here seems to be doing all right, you know, like seems to be on it. I don't know if they will do anything. Look at this, going right up the inside. Do you know what, actually? If I was to like sort of guess the handling on this, it feels like AC1, but it's almost like there's some sort of tyre flex integrated into it. It's got that kind of AC1, but with a little bit more mushiness to it. And that, I think, also comes through the force feedback. It does seem to have the dynamic range there for you to actually drive it and feel what's going on through the force feedback whilst driving. And it doesn't have that binary on-off kind of at the limit feel that ACC had. We have had the AI here slow down a bit. They made a bit of a mistake, but it looks like they recovered from it all right. We haven't had an AI traffic jam, which was the common problem in AC1. Getting loose around there. You do feel as well the suspension loading up on the brake, but yeah, I think that this is really, really nice and drivable. It's nice and approachable. It's forgiving handling. There does seem to be quite a decent amount of range to force feedback. It's not quite as punchy as AC1, but there might be some more depth there in some ways, or a little bit more nuance to it. I've gone from like cautious to actually quite positive here. I could see this being something that I personally probably put a lot of time into. And this, of course, is on another person's rig, not set up exactly how I would set it up. So we're going to let it go into the too much throttle there. We'll let it go into the. I think it can get into the church of force feedback. You know, I think this might actually get into the church of force feedback, but we'd need to fiddle with the settings a bit. It's going to be really interesting as well to actually see, we'll talk to Kunos later, but it'll be really interesting to see what they're doing in terms of the tyre dynamics and how like tyre heating will affect things. So if you played AC1, you'll remember that if you did like one big spin, it would take like half a lap for the tyres to cool back down. It'd be a bit over the top. And also the sort of tyre wear was not like the greatest thing in AC1, especially compared to sims like R Factor 2 or Le Mans Ultimate. The general tyre behaviour over longer races and stuff is not as nuanced. So if they've managed to get that more nuanced tyre behaviour, the tyre temperature changing and all that handling stuff, combined with it having a more like dynamic feeling at the limit, also combined with the response that you get in AC, I mean, that is approaching the grail of sim racing, I think. So, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to jump onto the Hyundai i30N, and this is at Brands Hatch, obviously the best track in the world, and this is obviously a pure road car. So we've done a GT3 car, another pretty fast road car, but in the wet, and now Brands Hatch on a track that looks like it's, on the track surface, it looks like it's been maybe a bit rainy, and then it's dried out a bit. The physics seem absolutely fantastic, the handling seems fantastic, super intuitive, graphics are totally fine, it looks like it's running at a nice frame rate on this big screen, but I'm not quite sure if it has that absolute tightness and, you know, that sort of really fine detail that you have at the limit in the force feedback. That's like really the sort of finesse of the original Assetto, but maybe you can't have that degree of fidelity when you end up having more complex tyres and maybe. And it feels more forgiving than the original Assetto to drive. So swings and roundabouts, but it's certainly, I'm not getting the ACC depression, and I feel like this is quite edging up on Assetto Corsa glory is what I'd say, but not. It's different. It's not quite for me. Or some birds flying past. It's not totally in the force feedback level surpassing AC necessarily on this setup, but I thought we might need to fiddle with it more. But yeah, so right, that's our absolute first impressions of Assetto Corsa Evo. What do I leave you with? What do I leave you with after all that rambling? I have gone from a state of pessimism and despair to a state of optimism. I would say as it is right now, I would say this is possibly the second best sim that I've driven. I still might say that AC1 on my home setup drives better than this in a sense, but I'm used to it, I'm comfortable with it. I think putting more time into this and with the right settings, it could potentially surpass Assetto Corsa 1. Adding all the graphics, adding all the features, I think for most people this would surpass Assetto Corsa 1, but as an AC1 fanboy, I think this is it's very close. So, yeah, to round things up, I'm optimistic. We need to have more time on it. We're going to do some more live streaming here. We're going to be back in this booth and we'll be on it later for some more. So that's it though, guys. That's a really convoluted and bizarre first impressions of Assetto Corsa Evo. If you enjoyed this, make sure you click the like button. Make sure you subscribe. We'll have links under the video for everything. Until the next one, most importantly of all, Make yourselves a cup of tea and drink it. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.